Alright guys, what's up? We're back at it again today, hitting it hard, and I want to run through the Orchid V4, V3, whatever you got. A lot of guys talking trash about this, and I just don't see why. This thing performs so good. I'm going to run through my magic build on this. If you're having problems with your Orchid and you're just ready to toss it in the trash, give this one a shot. If you still hate it, well hey, I'm sure there's someone out there that will buy it. If you're having issues, the number one thing, even if you're not having issues, if you're interested in an Orchid and you're going to buy one, this piece right here is probably the most important feature, and it does not come with the Orchid. Now, it's only like $4 or something. It's not expensive, $3-4 bucks. I'll post a SKU right there, right now, you'll see her. This is the topfill kayfun cap. Now, it's made for the kayfun, but it works with the Orchid. So I'm just going to pull this out of frame, just thread this on for a sec. And I want to show you, I'm going to put the drip tip in for the Orchid. Tell me if that does not look like it's almost made for it, right? It's got the same kind of lines in the top here, little heatsink fins. It's great. So it does not leak. The number one flaw with the Orchid, the only flaw really, is the way it fills from the bottom. If it had 2 screws, I wouldn't even be saying this right now. But it only has 1. So when you're filling it up, it's got nowhere for the air to go. So a lot of guys will just pump juice into it. And they're filling it, they're doing what they're supposed to do, fill it from the bottom. But what happens is, when you got a bottle, like most people are going to be using something like this, or a needle tip, when you seal it against that screw and just pump a whole bunch in there, it will eventually pump it right up onto the build deck and just flood everything. Now, if the guys, the first time they flood it, they decide, I'm going to fill it from the top. Now, the standard Orchid top cap, sorry, I got one pulled up. Let me see, where's that? There it is. This guy here. Now, as soon as you put it on and start threading it down, it seals right now. So the rest of the threads is just forcing all that juice, 4 mils of it, down. So if you overfill it, it'll just force all the juice in there. It doesn't matter if you overfill it. You top fill it like this and screw the cap on, you'll have it leak on you every time. At least I have. I've only tried it twice. Now, filling from the bottom, you can get away with it with a needle tip bottle, and if you take your time and just let it kind of work its way in there, it's not a fast procedure, and it can be very frustrating. So if you grab this top fill cap, oh man, what? I can't explain how much simpler this makes it, and it makes it so much better to use. You can fill it on the go. It vents. It's got the 2 holes in it, so you just pump the juice in there. Like 2 seconds, it's full right to the top, and you're good to go. So my only problem with the Orchid is when you wick it. That's the most important thing. A lot of guys will leave too much wicking material, and they clog up these juice channels here. Now, if you look closely at this on the sides, I just leave my wicking material just barely coming down the top, like right about there. It just starts to come into the channels, and that's it. You need the juice to be able to get into these channels and flow up so that it's able to be absorbed. If you just pack a bunch of material in there and then cinch the chimney down on it, it's going to be too tight, and the fluid can't flow. And it depends a lot on the type of juice you're using, if it's a high VG, high PG. But I'm going to put this together for you and show you the magic build. I've also found Celu cotton, Rayon cotton works the best. I'm not affiliated with this crap in any way. I don't sell it. I get no kickbacks from it. I just find it works. I've used all the Japanese combed and the Muji and the puff and all that crap, and I find the Rayon just works better. It's all cellulose fiber, synthetic or not. It's still pure 100% Rayon. I find it doesn't burn the same as cotton. The dry hits even taste better to me. It wicks better. Flavors are better. It doesn't blacken like traditional cotton. Try it. Some guys say, oh, you don't like it? Fine. It's personal taste. I'm not going to bitch at you at all for that. Personally, in the RTAs, I just find it wicks very good. All the fibers are perfectly straight. It's not overly packed. It comes off a roll the same dimension the whole way. So it's very easy to get it consistent. Give it a shot before you knock it. That's all I want to say. So I'm going to go through and do a build. I've cut some 27 gauge wire. I'm going to go about 6 wraps, maybe 7 wraps. I'll do it all on the resistance tester, burn it in, show you what the final resistance is, so you know where to build it to get that nice flavor you're looking for without it pissing fluid everywhere. Like I said, order this cap right now. You're not going to regret it. Okay, so I went ahead and just wrapped a couple coils real quick. I did 8 wraps, 7 wraps. I just don't count the first one. This is the third smallest, I guess, from, no, wait a minute. I don't know. I'll give you the exact size on the screen right now. Let's go to this jig right here. It's not the biggest, it's not the second biggest, it's the third biggest. And then I wrap my coils, and I like to do a little, I like both of the wires to come out at the same height, so when I put them through, the coil's not sitting on an angle. Some guys like that. When you put it in certain atomizers, it's good to have that vertical kind of wicking going on. But in this instance, you want it flat, straight up above that chimney. So what I do is wrap them the same. You bring the other one just a little bit past. You need a thin piece, a thin set of needle nose like this, and you can just put it in right like that. Line it up with the wire. Try and get this better in focus for you. And then you can just kind of just bend it right over the top of the screwdriver. And then it's nice and flat. Nice straight line, and they both enter at the same height. So it makes it a lot easier than having to fight with it later with your bits. Okay, so I got one coil in there. I just want to show, like, these are fairly big coils for this size of a build deck. Now, you can go one smaller. It's almost better if you do, but I like to kind of max it out. So you can see it's pushed right up tight, but you need to make sure it stays within that circle and it's not going to touch the chimney when you screw this on. This is very important that you do this now. So I just used the bit that comes in my jig again to get it all straightened out. And you need to lift it up just a little bit off the build deck so the air is able to move around. If it's squashed flat, it's going to limit your airflow. So when you put the second coil in, you kind of need to bend that leg up a little bit. And this is so that when it comes through, it'll come out on top of this coil and allow you to break it off. Else you'll be fighting with it. Or else you can do one coil at a time. Some guys like to do it that way too. Okay, so I got her built. We got her up on there. Just kind of lifted those coils up just a bit off the build deck. And I will adjust these again once I'm finished. We can kind of see what I'm talking about now. So I got it on the resistance tester. This hasn't been burned in yet. And it is reading 0.34. So it'll probably come out to about a 0.44. I find it jumps at about 0.1 when you burn it in. So we'll see. Throw her on the IPV. Okay, I figured I'd show this burning in. Make sure we're getting nice even heat. So I'm going to hit it. 23 watts. Oh, see that one side there is heating up way too fast. That's going to pop a coil if I keep hitting it. Not working through the coil very well, so I'm just going to squash that with a set of pliers, and they can usually take care of that. It's a little too close, I think, to the center post. Yeah. Okay, so part of the time you just gotta let it go. So I'm just gonna let it work that power through, let those coils get nice and hot. And they're not heating very evenly right now, you can see that. But that doesn't really matter. Just don't hold the power and watch them pop. So right about now is when you want to squish them. With your, I got a nice set of flat pliers. I find that works really well to keep the coils nice and tight. And now, after you've heated them up for the first time, there they go, nice and even glow now. Heating up evenly. And that's all it takes sometimes. They'll look all uneven and you just need to let the power work through, squash them. Nice and even. So after you let them burn in like that, always go around and just tighten them up just a little bit. Do not use your blue screwdriver. Get a proper, something you can put a little torque on, a better bit. I find this one's perfect for me, but you can use whatever. But just don't use those blue screwdrivers. You just can't put the right amount of torque on. Like, I've only used one maybe once or twice in my life, and both times I stripped screws. So, okay, let's get busy and wick this up. Okay, here, let me bring the camera down just a bit. Sorry about the hands there. Look at my skin. Okay, so I've cut 2 pieces of cellucod. Now it comes off the roll just like that. So I've taken this piece. I'm sorry guys, video cut out on me there. So I just went ahead and pulled one of the pulled some of the Rayon in. And the nice part was, I was showing you there, it's very easy to just kind of pull little bits off. It's all nice and perfectly straight. So I'll pull this one in and just show you how easy it is to work with. Just try not, you don't want to get it all covered in oils and stuff like that. I try only to touch the end I'm pulling through. And then just, you can pull little bits off as you need to. So it's very forgiving. If you have too much, you can always pull it up, pull a little bits out. So now with the smaller wires, you don't want to try and pull too much in and then just bend your nice wires over here. So I kind of just hold it just to make sure with my thumbnail there on the edge that if it is too tight, I'm not going to deform everything. So it is a little bit tight, but not bad. I was pretty close. You can just take a bit off. And then the same procedure again, just pull it through a little bit more. And that's good enough for me. So I'm just going to cut this off now, fairly short, match up with the other ones, and then we will start trimming it up, giving it a little haircut here, because we need to, if you were to just screw the chimney on and pack all this material into the juice wells, it's not going to wick properly. It's going to be too much material. So I kind of just go like that along the edge, kind of lining it up on the bottom, and I just trim it off kind of right flush. Same with this one here, trim it off flush, kind of bring it down if it's sticking up a little bit. Try and trim it off flush. And that's kind of it, just work around it. If you take too much off one side, you can always pull it back a little bit. And it's going to shrink a little bit when you moisten it with... so now I'm just going to take the top edge off a little bit here. And now we're getting kind of close. So I'm just going to look at the bottom here. You can see the juice wells. So I just want to trim up from the bottom of those juice wells to make sure none of those long hairs get packed in there and totally clog it up. Same with this one. Come up from the bottom. And this is probably one of the more important steps to the wicking procedure, because if there's too much in there, like I said, it just won't allow anything to come up those juice channels. Okay, one thing you want to do is do this over the garbage. You end up with this little rayon fibers everywhere. So this is what I do. I trim it down and kind of test fit the chimney. And I just want the wicking material just right at the top there. I don't want a ton. So I actually trimmed off quite a bit. You can see here now. Now I'm going to saturate it and it will shrink a little bit. So this is probably the most important step. Make sure you trim off quite a bit. Test fit your chimney. And make sure you got none of the long fibers working their way all the way down the chimney. You need that chimney open. I mean, these juice channels open, sorry. So pretty close. I'm going to go ahead. I got some mod sauce. I'm going to wick it up. Throw it on the IPV and we'll give it a toot. So it's pretty straightforward when it comes to wicking or to moistening. You don't want to get too carried away, and this is the time where you need to test fire it before you put it all together and make sure it's working before you put 4 mils of juice in it and find out one coil's not firing. And I'm looking at the coils here, making sure I got that gap. You need a couple mils in between the coil and that air hole. So let's get busy with the juice. You don't got to get too carried away, but the wicking capillary action can't happen if the material's dry. So you can kind of use the juice bottle to kind of push it in a little bit and pack it down around the edges if there's any stray pieces hanging out. Sorry, I usually don't show all this stuff on camera. I figure most guys know how to do all this, but this one people seem to have problems with. So I'll show you how I remedy that. So that's good right there. I probably wouldn't get too much more carried away than that. It's not leaking everywhere, it's just nicely moistened. And this is where you can kind of test fit your chimney. If you have any little extra bits or whatever, you can take them off still, even if there is juice on it, right? So there you go. Lines up. Looks pretty good to me, so just make sure your threads are on properly, you're not cross-threading. You can see that the wicking materials worked its way into those channels a little bit. That is perfect. This side here is almost a little bit not quite enough, so I wanted to get a little bit in there. Just make sure that it can't run freely, or else what will happen is it will flood your build deck. Just poke this one up just a little bit. Oh, of course. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So this side here, almost, I might have taken a little too much, so I just want to pull a little bit back. See how I did that? Not very hard to do. Just want to make sure there's a little tiny bit of wicking material just up against the trench there. And this side here, it's got a little too much in there. So actually I don't need to cut that off, I can just push it in there. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to put the top on now, and that's good enough for me. You can double check as you work around that you got proper fit. And there she goes. Okay, so that's it. Basically the chimney's on. Basically. And I'm just going to thread this together. Put the top cap on. We'll fill her up. That's this easy. So all you do now, once you've got her built, you take the top cap. It's got a split section, so you can pull this out. It's got the two little red O-rings inside here, and that's it. Just fill her up. Actually, I'm gonna put same thing. I just got another personal bottle here with some nick in it. And I like these bottles. They seem to work the best because you can put them right up against that O-ring. They seal in there, and then you just force it in. You can just watch it. Just bloop. Now you don't want to pressurize it. Let the juice do the work. Don't pressurize it in there. Just let it work its way. And the first time, don't overfill. So that's good. That's at least 3 mils of juice in there. 4 mils of juice, no problem. Just like that. Fill her up. We're going to tighten the lid back on. And that's it. Sealed up, ready to go. And you can see I have no leaking at all. And this is the first fill. Most times you guys will clear the chamber here. Not a bad idea to just blow through it and clear it out. But other than that, it's done, ready to go. Whew. And there you have it, guys. This is the magic build. So what did it come out at? It says 0.4 on my dial here. What did I say it was going to be? I can't remember. 0.44? 0.45? I can't remember. Okay, this is the zero rod. This is burnt in with fluid, everything as it would be sitting on top of your device. 0.41. Perfect. I love it. Nice hot smoke. You can run it at lower wattage, around 30 watts. You get nice quick pulls. And that's it, guys. So I hope you liked the video. This again is the magic build for the Orchid. It won't leak. The top fill cap is the ticket. So check Fast Tech for that. This SKU number was earlier. I'll throw it in your face again right now just to be safe. And yeah, check back, guys. We got lots to come. I got a whole bunch of stuff in the mail on the way right now. Should be here any day. We got the Dovpo GX200 mechanical box mod. We got the Beast 2 box mod, improved version with the diodes. I'm going to be doing a video on how to convert them to standard MOSFET boxes. I got the new Paradigm Vengeance, so known as the Magma V2 coming. Lots of different atomizers, the Derringers. I got a Cloudport Minis. All kinds of different stuff to review. So if there's stuff you want to see, let me know. I'm here for you, the viewer. So thanks again for watching, guys. Keep calm and vape on.